Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's Open Division EMEA brought to you by Monkey Bubble. Today, casting for you is Moxie. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Joe. I'm doing good. Probably slightly better than you, seeing as you're awake at, well, an hour that I would personally prefer to be in bed by, but got to applaud the commitment, got to really applaud the love of Overwatch, and Overwatch is what we're all here for today.
Yeah, it's worth it for this game. We've got Dreadlords taking on Vox Nihili, so really exciting one coming up now, as well as a match coming up later, which should hopefully be just as good. You want to start breaking this one down for us?
Yeah, so Dreadlords versus Vox Nihili, two teams that we haven't really got to witness coming from Monkey Bubble casts, but one that I am sure is going to wow both ourselves and the viewers. You stop seeing bad teams, you just start to see the stellar play coming out, and the meta really is valuing stellar team play over that individual star power. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how these guys work together, what sort of ultimate combinations they're going to be trying to pull off.
Yeah, and Dreadlords coming in at the top seed right now. There are few hittable teams. Notably, though, the Barcelona Manticores, who were the first people to be down into the losers brackets. That's a pretty key note of their history so far. But now that we're here, this is a match that I think Vox and Hilly will have learned something by this point in the losers bracket. They've gotten this far. They clearly have the skills to back it up, but now they've got to beat the one team that's left in there.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle for Vox Nihili, but I'm sure they're going to be looking forward to tackling it with gusto. Looking at the players and the heroes that they do like to see, I'm looking at, well, the DPS lineup. It's really interesting, even liking that Tracer McCree and Widowmaker. So perhaps not going to be seeing that Mei as prevalent as team as we're seeing in certain other games.
Yeah, and we're already just about to hop into this game, and Dreadlords getting to start off on the blue side. Granted, it's control, so it doesn't too much matter here. But we will be playing the Busan, which we talked about it before the cast, that a lot take it to Busan for the first control map. Why do you think that is?
So Busan is such a mixed bag of a map. You really can run so many things on one scene that you don't see coming into the other one. Sanctuary in particular favors so many compositions. You can go with the Reinhardt and the Diva. You can even put a Zarya in there. You can come out with the dive. Importantly, you can come out with the Sombra. This is such a beautiful point to just pull out those 6-person whole team EMPs if you manage to catch your enemy in those open spaces.
Yeah, and one other thing that this Winston ball composition is completely capable of doing is just holding on to this point forever. Whoever gets the first tick over is going to be at a massive advantage. The amount of percentage you can rack up based solely on is huge. As these teams roll out onto the point, it's going to be an absolute bloodbath here.
Very interesting as well to note, both of them are running that Brigitte no Signfire to try to negate an EMP.
And early point control already taken here by Vox Nihili, so there's a lot of space to be taken by both these teams, but they have plenty of mobility to do it. Teemo, though, gets hacked, and this could be trouble here for the Winston. Dropped real low, but not managed being taken out. HMonkey effectively peeling for him. Now, both tanks of Dreadlords are going to be stuck in the purple. Point, though, ticks over for Vox Nihili first, backing up, and like I mentioned, this is going to be huge because these fights can go on forever, but these nades coming out of Mayday are just insane. Starboy has to peel back for his team as Dreadlords just going to reset here.
But Dreadlords have to respect the fact that Pinku has the EMP and pops it in early.
Push now onto the point based off that EMP, but Eden finds that mine onto HMonkey, takes out the main tank, and that's a lot of that point presence gone. Now Teemo forced to try and live for as long as he can on the Winston, but the point just refuses to take over. Now 28% headed into the direction of Vox Nihili. As the purple lands onto him, Teemo goes down as well, and that's going to have to be a reset here coming out from Dreadlords if they want any chance at fully taking over this point. HMonkey nearly gets hacked, not quite, but Mr. Yeah.
I think the point flip does come through, so now Dreadlords can just try to fight this one out for as long as they can. They do as well have the Sombra with that EMP ready to just drop in for when Vox Nihili come calling Sodor. This could be a pretty painful point fight for this team if they want that flip to come down through.
Yeah, 42%, a respectable first push here, and now they have some ultimates to do it. They've got the mines as well as the Primal Rage coming up as well. Eden with that pulse bomb, he landed the last time. It's gonna see if he can do it again. Although they face Dio's EMP, finds the kill down onto the Brigitte. Froki dude goes down, looking for a second kill here is going to be Dreadlords. Not quite though, as our Winston gets left right of there. Teemo forced to back off, but as Mr. Akislay is going down in return, and the fight still just going to be held over here by Dreadlords.
But Vox and Nihili have the win condition that they need. That EMP, NKZ can also just run straight onto point, put the mines down, force Dreadlords into a corner, and that is going to allow Pingu to get so many people caught up in that radius.
Yeah, Pingu's just searching for the big EMP, but a nice pulse bomb onto Nat is going to delay his fight even more. The dive comes in, and all the kills going the way of Dreadlords now as they get to even up those ult charges by a good margin.
But Vox and Nihili, they kept a hold of the ultimates. They didn't commit them into a fight that they knew they'd already lost. It is getting dangerously close to that last fight territory, though, so they do need to start making something happen, and soon they just have to come in with these heavy hitters and just kick Dreadlords off that point.
And outside of that pulse bomb, there's not too much to come with CMP with, so it's not a guaranteed fight when I'd say based solely on that. But now the push starts to come in. Brigitte's ultimate is used. The dives down, the mines on the point. And now Nanoed Winston looks to chunk through the health bars of the Dreadlords, but he's not able to get on top of anybody. This might just be a wasted nano now. Dreadlords starting this re-engage with all their ultimates. Nothing found, but the mines from NKZ finally take out one, and his counterpart, Hazox, Little Flame going down next in this fight, starting to head the direction of Vox Nihili, and the point ticks over. 43%, but not before 99's given up.
Here's the grim reality for Vox Nihili. They have to win every single fight out from now until that map closes off. So Dreadlords, they can just take their time, bank up ultimates, build up to Dao's EMP, build up all of the things that they need to just get that point flipped in their favor. And Vox Nihili, they're going to be trying to claw on every single fight. It has to last for so long. They don't have that looter. They have nothing to try to save themselves with the EMP. They're just going to have to play it around that natural cover.
Yeah, and right about now, they're coming up on all 6 of their ultimates. A couple more seconds here, and everyone's going to be coming in. Rallies used, mines as well. The nano out from Mayday. The push comes through. Starboy manages to find Pingu. Not much more, though, on point as the control's over. One player just staggering the point as best he can, but it should be taking over here. The Dreadlords pretty soon. Eden finds one on a dial, though. That's one of the DPS gone. Now they can start to make their way back on the point. Teemo finds Froki dude, though. Point presence gone now. NKZ makes his way back to point. It's not ticked over yet here for the Dreadlords. They've got to end this fight quickly while they have the man advantage. Teemo finds one more, but it's not going to be enough. Barely ticks over before Blaze can touch this point. Hazox finds one onto Eden, another one down onto NKZ, and they can solidify this one into a win. The Slam comes down onto 2, looking to finish off this Winston, but he won't go down. Hazox instead trading out for Pingu, deciding that's going to be the better target. The Soldier had a lot of presence, but Froki dude going down means there's a huge lack of heals on the point. Starboy finds one more onto Nat, diving the main heals for Vox Nihili, and that's going to win him the point.
Dao kept that EMP for the perfect opportunity. When that contest bar starts coming in and you've got Vox Nihili, both of their tanks on point, the Hammond having those mines up, both of them get hacked out, both of them get caught in the blast. They're able to just focus down the hamster, and he can't just spin around, continuously contesting that point forever and ever until the rest of his team have bleeded into that actual slugfest.
Yeah, and now coming into the second point, we're going to see pretty much completely different comps. At least from one side, it looks like Dreadlords are pretty intent on switching. However, Vox Nihili staying. I think Discord is dropping out real quick. But of that first point, what do you think was the most important thing? I know you mentioned the ultimates coming out from Dreadlords being a pretty significant advantage in their ultimate economy and how they used those. But was there anything else you noticed?
I think both of these teams seem to really fight fights a little bit longer than they perhaps should. Overstayed their welcome just a little bit long enough for that that point just keep ticking and ticking and ticking far longer than it really should. And that is always going to benefit the team who's in control of the point. However, Vox Nihili, they had the point in their favor. The hamster was there, but NKZ actually leaves the point, doesn't contest it, allows Dreadlords to just walk in, take it, free real estate, get the flip going, and then it's Vox Nihili who are left floundering trying to get that point flip back over.
And now we're back into the game as Dreadlords look to take this Reinhardt Diva composition all the way to the point, still facing up against the Winston ball. As the dive starts to come in, Dreadlords don't really have any real map control here.
Yeah, but Dow is gonna go onto the Sombra, so this is map control. Yes, it's an ultimate, but it is an EMP. It forces players to play around compositions completely differently. Suddenly you're looking out for your Moira, you're looking out for your Lucio, because they are just juicy targets for a Sombra to dive.
And Dreadlords pushing out the mini side might be the right move here as Nat goes down, the main heals down, Little Flame though traded right back out. Aki Slays will be the next member to go without a maintain. Could be big here though, Hack goes down onto the Wrecking Ball. NKZ left with no defenses, he should be going down next in the point. Ticks over for Dreadlords.
Yeah, so Vox and Nihili, they can try another stab at this dive, or they can admit defeat and hope that they aren't a little bit too late on swapping their composition to try to deal with that mirror matchup. We're going to see it there. Eden's going to go onto the McCree. Meraxis is going to go onto the Reinhardt. They are going to be behind an ultimate charge, though, Dor. So this does leave a window for Dreadlords to get this next fight going in their favor. They'll have ultimates up that Vox and Nihili just do not have access to.
Yeah, it's a pretty significant ultimate advantage right now, and if they can continue to roll that, they will be able to keep it for the remainder of the game. However, it will be Vox and Nihili making their way in towards the point. The Reinhardt's about to duke it out. Fire strikes out from both sides. NKZ, though, goes in, finds the boop in the walls. Great on Timo. The Nano, though, saves his life as a massive anti-nade lands down onto 3 members of Vox and Nihili. It's a disaster. Dio takes out Pingu, and now the push coming out from Dreadlords, just looking to seal this fight out as best they can. Timo finds 2 with the Fire Strike. Little Flame clears out his counterpart, and the point is held on to.
Well, a normalized Reinhardt has no chance against a nanoed Reinhardt, and that is something that Dreadlords know to an absolute T. They don't need to put anything else into that entire fight other than that one ultimate. And we talked that Vox and Nihili swapping their composition up can have ramifications for the entire map, can just keep their ultimates always on that back foot, and you're gonna see it now. Dreadlords, they've got the EMP, they can win this next fight off purely with that and save the other 4 that they've got to win out the next couple.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great engagement by Vox and Nihili in the previous fight. Little Flame, though, it's dangerous. He's got the Deadeye. Nope, not gonna be enough with the speed. Just forcing them back into the Mega Room. NKZ, though, trying to gain as much control of this high ground. He's got to find this Sombra before that EMP comes out. Dio, though, he's in the EMP, but the bomb is blocked by a fantastic wall by Pingu. Sound barrier to counter the shatter. 3 members down. White might just see Pingu go down, but only 1 member lost. Is not this fight over here for Vox and Nihili. Aki Slayer does get the nano, so he's swinging down on Timo. Timo, though, gets slept. The charge comes in, but he's woken back up. Mayday finds his kill down onto Nat. Aki Slayer finds Mayday in return, and the kills, though, just are going in the way of Dreadlords. The kill feeds all blue and overtimes over map 1 goes to Dreadlords.
Yeah, so really that one was nowhere near as close as Sanctuary was, and it was all of the fact that Vox and Nihili came out with dive and then immediately had to swap to what they thought would be the winning combination, that mirror matchup, and it did. It had the major ramifications that we very briefly discussed. They just were constantly at a disadvantage into every single fight they went into, because what they were trying to build towards, Dreadlords already had an absolute spades. They could just pick and choose for an ultimate out, knowing that they didn't really have to worry about anything that had been built up on the other side, able to win those fights out in such beautiful fashion and just keep cycling through until the time bank was gone.
I mean, ultimates really were the name of the game there at the end of the day. Vox and Nihili, their initial push with their Reinhardt Diva composition was actually fantastic. NKZ went in, booped the main sport off the high ground. The Maywall landed on the Timo, but the nano boost just came in, and that ultimate advantage came into play, and Timo just ran through everybody with that nano. And that was really the one chance that Vox and Nihili had to get into the ultimate economy game, because after that, it was just the EMP from Dio, and all's over but the crying at that point. Is now we look to move on to map 2.
Yeah, so if it's Vox and Nihili, we are seeing that they do have that flexibility, that lack of stubbornness that some teams perhaps have when they just refuse to swap off what's just not working for them. Sadly, it doesn't quite work out. Going into this next map, I do want to see a little bit more of them trying to collapse on Dreadlord's backline. It feels very much like they're just going straight into the faces of the enemy rather than trying to cut the legs out of the team. If you go after the Reinhardt, he is going to be kept alive by both a Lucio and an Ana. It's such a difficult task. Yes, the shield is so fragile in this day and age of Overwatch, but the HP bar is still so huge.
And now we're moving on to Numbani. So I think this is going to lead for us to see a little bit more dive, maybe more of that Winston Baller. Winston Diva is usually a little bit better at controlling the high ground here, or maybe just go back onto that Reinhardt Diva. The weird thing, though, is that Numbani hasn't been in at least the competitive map pool for a while now. And so it's a map that a lot of people haven't seen, especially in Open Division. Open Division, these teams haven't been playing it all of this season. It hasn't been in the map pool. And so coming out, I'm interested to see what strategies they bring to the table. Is there anything you're looking out for?
So anything and everything can happen on Numbani. I have seen so many plays get run on this map and find both success and, well, defeat with it. But I'm really going to be looking out for Pharmacy. This is a map where Pharmacy on point A can just break it straight open in that first fight. And so if you're on the defending side, you have a dilemma on your hands. Do you come out with a Pharah counter, trying to get that read on the other team, knowing that if you get it wrong, you don't get that opportunity in that first fight to go back to spawn and swap something up? Or do you try and put caution to the wind, not come out with that Pharah counter, and just run something and then get immediately steamrolled over by that horrible duo? You are a little bit stuck in a catch-22, but thankfully McCree is very much the old and faithful of the current meta. The DPS second spot is either that McCree, that Reaper. Sometimes we even see a little bit of Soldier, which still seems extremely strange coming out of my mouth, but developers said he's in a good place. Teams are apparently still agreeing with this because, well, I still run head and tail from a nano visor.
Yeah, and as well, one thing we've seen in the Overwatch League a good bit has been a little sprinkling of Genji. And so on points like Numbani point A that are really hard to crack, you can see all sorts of hard holds from the high ground. It's really hard to force any supports off of there. Is going to be the Nano Blade as an option for some of these teams. And I believe there was one player from the sheets that did play a good fair bit of Genji.
Yeah, so there's a really nice play that I like to see. It takes a little bit to set up, but when it works, oof, it's beautiful. You have a Nanoblade in Genji, you have a Hammond with mines. The Hammond lays the mines, the Genji pulls out the blade, the enemy team are stuck with nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, nowhere to see but the spawn walls as they all hide.
Yeah, when you get that full wombo combo, it's really just poetry in motion. Is I think these teams are both up to the task of pulling off some pretty significant plays, and I think that's what it's going to take to break this point A. Numbani point A, one of the most notably difficult ones to break if the defensive team is playing it right. The staggers as well can be pretty huge. The spawn's not too far away, and if you're running Winston Wrecking Ball, Winston Diva, you can get back to the point very, very quickly. And so full holds are not unheard of here on Numbani, but if they can break that first point, second point, not too bad to push, and then you get down to the third point, which is honestly, I'd say in the middle, but Numbani's kind of reverse of a lot of these escort maps where point A can honestly be the hardest part of this map.
See, I find in my experience that point C is really where attacks fall apart because you have that defending spawn that's just so much closer. And once you manage to roll that payload through, if it comes to a stop, it can stop for the entirety of the remaining time because you have a choke that you have to go. And yeah, you have that corridor, that high ground that you can try and take and drop down on the unsuspecting defending team, but it's a risk because it's very small, close-knit corridors, perfectly sized for a May wall, perfectly sized for a blizzard to just absolutely ruin your day.
Yeah, point C's on any hybrid or escort map are really nothing to be messed with, but we'll have to see if we even get there. 'Cause I think everybody's just about ready to get into this game. Any last minute predictions? Dreadlords and Vox Nihili, they've shown a little bit of a playstyle difference. I think Vox Nihili sort of favoring that dive as we saw them holding on inside of Busan downtown, I believe, trying to stay on that composition. It was the death of them by the end of that map. Where do you think these teams are going? Do you think we'll see a difference in playstyle here on how they want to attack point A?
I think it's going to depend on where the DPS really want to go because I've looked at the team sheets and I found the Genji player and it's Dao, and he's given his first played hero as Genji, his second played hero as Genji, and his third played hero as Genji. And if you're running a Genji, well, you immediately have to then bring in an Ana because you cannot dry blade. Not at this level. It will just be immediately shut down. That Genji, there's so much CC in this game that can just absolutely negate a blade. Not even that, but just sidestep it entirely. And then you have to think, okay, do we want to commit properly with this Genji? Do we give up the Mei to allow a little bit more of a dive to try to protect him? Do we put a Tracer in? Do we run with the Winston? Do we run with the Diva? Or do we go for the Reinhardt and try to push a sort of pincer attack where you have the Genji and say the Diva going on over the top, and then you have the Reinhardt and the rest of the team going on under or around the side to emerge, both of your forces meeting in the middle and collapsing onto the team on point. It really is a toss-up of what these teams are particularly comfortable on, and I'm really happy to just be, I don't know. And that's the best thing about this meta. It's so experimental. No one actually properly knows what we're gonna see coming out of those spawn doors, and I absolutely adore that.
Yeah, the game's in a fantastic place now. We get to see a lot of stuff, but for right now, we're just going to have to go to a little bit of a technical break. We'll get back to you guys as soon as possible, bringing the action at you. All right, everybody, welcome back. We apologize for the delay. It seems we've time traveled a little bit into the future as we are now one map deeper into this pool. Numbani was played. Unfortunately, we were having a few little bit of technical difficulties there, but it was Dreadlords who came out in the second push. So both teams continued through the map. Vox Nihili ended up taking it with about a minute left on the clock. Dreadlords finished it out with 2 minutes, and that was just enough to allow them to get the one tick on point A that allowed them to win the game. And now we're heading on. We're at game point. It's Havana and Moxie. How was your little break?
I mean, it was enjoyable. We got to watch some Overwatch, even if the viewers at home didn't, and I got to see some Sombra play, which always puts a smile on my face. It's a rare thing to see in Overwatch 2020, but I really do think some teams are sleeping on the importance that Sombra can bring to their compositions. You can just immediately delete any impact felt by a Lucio or an entire team if you manage to build up to that wombo of that EMP combo.
Yeah, we also got to see little hints of Dio's Genji, which is something that he's noted himself as being one of his strongest characters, if not just by far his strongest character. So I'm excited to see if we might get to see another peek at that now that they're game point. Maybe they're willing to do a couple more of those things. We'll see the team compositions come out. It looks like more of the same, but Eden locking in a Widowmaker.
Well, this is attacker's spawn though, Dor, so you can absolutely still have this change up. You can just try to go to that second floor using that Widow site to try to spot out what composition you're going to be running up and against, because nothing else from the side of Vox Nihili really is contributing to try to keep a Widow alive. They don't have the Mercy for the damage boost, nor the res if she gets jumped, and you're still going to be seeing Pingu sitting on that Mei. Probably the best play to go here. You do have to remember the best counter to an enemy Mei is a Mei of your own.
Yeah, and not to mention, there's been a little bit of a renaissance, we'll call it, and how this map is played. These early holds are very potent, and it allows you to get two holds in, or two defenses in here on the first point. Is now just using that cart for cover. It's going to be Dreadlords holding on for dear life, but they get charged. Teemo goes down, losing their instincts huge here. The purple lands onto two members of the remaining Dreadlords, and now it should be a pretty free push here as Vox nearly continue their way through this map.
Yeah, lovely ending anti onto Vox Nihili, but unfortunately Dreadlord, their forces, they're just too fragmented to be able to capitalize on it, and so that payload will be rolling. This is the danger with trying to go for that Renaissance play, having that immediate aggression onto the spawn doors. If you lose it, the payload gets to move pretty far, almost towards that just beginning point off that one fight alone. So Dreadlords will be regrouping to try to come at this one from a different angle.
Yeah, and one thing worth noting is Vox Nihili, by winning that fight, when you lose that, you start giving away a pretty serious ultimate disadvantage. But now they're pushed up, they've got the ultimate advantage, and they can push the rest of this point pretty readily. They have that high ground. It's going to be so hard to defeat them. The cart, though, stuck in place. The Reinhardt dropping down, which is going to be huge here. Aki is now not able to get back up onto that high ground. They're going to be pushed off here as Hazox looks to engage down onto the supports, and it's a little bit just of a long neutral here.
Yeah, you do have to remember though, Eden is still up on that high ground, and that's crucial because this McCree has the Deadeye ready, trying to land it into Dreadlords, but the D.Va's not letting him, just hounding him down.
Yeah, Vox are doing a fantastic job of disengaging here, but Teemo gets the nano boost, now looking to engage on it, but nice charge by Aki, manages to find him out. Dio gets slammed, and Teemo finds one back onto Aki, but the kills are all turned up red in the kill feed right now. Starboy trying to hold on to this card as best he can alongside Teemo, but Little Flame in the backline is the last bastion of this point A defense as Starboy holds on for dear life.
Well, Vox Nihili will be looking to keep that payload moving. Nat has this nano. More importantly, Pingu is going to have the Blizzard, and Starboy is 30% away from the soundbar. You do have a bomb as well, so you can play this two ways. You can either try and find an impact with Blizzard on its own, you can save it for Dows, or you can try to put in that bomb, force all of Dreadlords into a spot that they perhaps don't want to be in, and then Blizzard when the team is vulnerable and ripe for the picking.
Yeah, Little Flame though, dropping the Deadeye from the high ground, finds two, breaks straight through the shield, and Nat and Aki go down, and all of Dreadnought's just gonna push through with ease like a knife through hot butter right now, and now they get this choke to deal with, which could be bad news bears here for Vox Nihili.
They're going to have to throw a couple of ultimates at the wall if they want that pillar to start moving anytime soon. Chokes are such a nuisance to deal with in Overwatch. You do have a couple of ways around this one, though. The steps being one of them. Looks like that's exactly the play Vox Nihili want to go try to take that high ground away from Dreadlord's feet.
And now pushing in with the Nano. Vox Nihili are no strangers to the aggression. Pushing in, nearly hits that Fire Strike. Little Flame does go down alongside Mayday. The disengage is just not quick enough coming out of Dreadlords here. It's kind of what we saw last map that the viewers missed, was just this hyper aggression coming out from Vox Nihili, and it's been paying off for him so well.
And both of these mages haven't put those blizzards in. They're holding it almost like the way that you see Zarya's hold grabs over Zenyatta heads, not allowing Lucio's to get the sign barrier in, because neither of these supports wanted to commit that ultimate before the aggressive ultimate they're trying to counter has come out first.
Yeah, and sitting on these blizzards, NKZ still does have that self-destruct, which is a huge threat when you consider that Aki could just charge or build up a shatter in this one fight, and they've got another combo loaded up just in that. But the three players of Dreadlords are just completely separated here. Starboy goes down for his troubles. They finally gotten to the point, but will it all be worth it as the high noon is used here? Eden looks for big numbers, but doesn't find anybody. Shatter from Teemo finds two. He could look to end this fight. The Nano lands down onto him. He's got to get the damage in, though. The self-destruct used goes off, not finding any kills, though. Akizai still has the shatter, and it's all done. But the crying here is both teams just out of ultimates. Pingu finally finds his counterpart in Dio. Teemo down next, the main tank down in Starboy. The only thing left on point. This should be a take here for Vox Nihili.
They really are coming alive on Havana at this point. It's just going to be unseating Dreadlords as this contest goes through. The ante is, again, pretty nice, but no members left there to capitalize. And so Mayday will be taking that happiness to the grave, at least until that respawn timer pings on off. Dow still has this Blizzard, though. When at the moment, it is currently the most impactful ultimate on board. Yes, Nano can be huge in opening fights up, especially if it's put onto a main tank. It does allow you to get that hyper aggression really going. But you do have to respect the Mei, respect the Blizzard. If the Reinhardt goes too far, even if he's on steroids, he's still going to be frozen and his head popped like a popsicle.
Yeah, and you mentioned all those ultimates being used there in that last fight, so this is kind of prime time for either of these teams to make hero swaps. It's going to be the best opportunity they'll get to not lose an ultimate advantage, but Nano does go down onto Aki. That last remaining ultimate as Teemo is getting swung through, but a nice anti-nade lands down onto him, forces him to back off. Pingu looking for the freeze. Teemo stuck in an unfortunate situation, but not for Little Flame. Managed to find Froakie Dude. Teemo now looking to clean it up alongside that Nano boost. He's pushing all of Vox Nihili back into spawn.
And looking at the hero swaps that did indeed come in for Vox Nihili, Eden danced with the Widowmaker, went to the McCree, is now going to have to deal with Little Flame. This is dangerous. Needs to build up to that Deadeye, doesn't want to throw it away, and then can swap onto the Widowmaker to properly get this contest going, because Pingu was trying to put walls into where Little Flame was finding the angles, but it wasn't enough. The Widowmaker just grappled over.
Yeah, you really can't do too much about the Widowmaker other than contest it. Maybe dive it with the DV here. NKZ clearly looking to make a play here onto Little Flame, but the ultimate advantage has already been given up here. Aki has the shatter, and that's going to be about the only thing they have going into this fight alongside the Blizzard to follow it up. Dio drops it onto two members, but nobody gets frozen. Eden instead catching Dio out of the ice block. Teemo forced to back up, and Dreadlords are in a very bad position right now for this hold. Nice ball, lands down on Teemo. This could be the main tank going down, and another stagger. Teemo tries to charge, but Eden, flashbang, takes him out.
Yeah, but Starboy is still just going to hold this payload up for as long as he possibly can. Pays for it with his life, but does have this sound barrier, so if Dreadlords are able to get this contest going, they can properly group up and try to come in with a Shattered Bomb combo that can be absolutely devastating for Vox Nihili. Vox Nihili do have something that can immediately swing the fight back in their favor, though. Pingu sitting on that Blizzard.
It's going to be huge. Instead, it's self-destruct, chucked over the top. Doesn't find anybody. Blizzard as well used onto the point. The ultimate that you had mentioned before. Aki gets purpled, though. He's in an unfortunate situation. Gets the Nano, but it doesn't heal him because he got anti-naded. Self-destruct here used out of Dreadlords. Not finding anybody. High noon, though, from the high ground. Eden unable to do anything with it now. Re-establishing themselves on point. Dreadlords look to stabilize.
The number of ultimates that they had just forced Vox Nihili away out of sheer power. You couldn't try to go for that contest, otherwise you would have been just shattered and then immediately nuked. And so now we're going to see Dreadlords. They've got control of the high ground. Little Flame is just trying to lob in damage from afar. Does go pretty low, but is trying desperately to get that Deadeye up and online. It's going to be down to NKC to have Defense Matrix for when that one comes on through, because it's currently going to be the only ultimate either team has to worry about.
And now, like you mentioned, only ultimate on the board will be that Deadeye, and so a fairly neutral fight here. This is probably going to be the best opportunity that Vox Nihili has to push the rest of this map. Little Flame uses the high noon, not able to find anybody. No! It's Pingu stepping into the sideline and going down, getting a little bit too overconfident here as they push onto the point. Aki running in with the Inno boost, but unable to clear that distance. Teemo making his way forward now, unafraid to contest as Little Flame goes down next. It's an even fight, 5 versus 5. Froki goes down, 2 more kills into the way of Dreadlords, make it 3-4 as they look to end this one in overtime.
Pingu is onto the Doomfist, but it is just gonna be delaying the inevitable. Dreadlord's gonna be having a little bit of a celebration in the Snowdome as they manage to stop that payload before it hits that third and final point.
And not to mention, that's a really respectable push coming out from Vox Nihili on Havana. It's not an easy map to even get that far on that last point. Holds up a lot of teams, especially when you're playing into a Widowmaker like that. Little Flame had a lot of opportunities to make some big plays, and unfortunately for Dreadnoughts, unable to stop the payload any earlier, but I think they can get that far themselves. I think that's right about that doable point. Pushing fully
but
on
it
Havana
is that sort of
easy.
knife edge, that hinge, because where the payload has stopped is very firmly enemy territory. This is so defense favored. Sometimes you have that push and pull when it comes to escort maps, where sometimes it's the advantage of the attackers, sometimes it's the advantage of the defenders, sometimes it's the even ground of street space. No, right where that payload has been halted is very, very much dangerous land for Dreadlords to be trying to step, because there is a fortress. And it is exactly as difficult as trying to invade a fortress with 6 people against an entire army sometimes. It's such an uphill battle trying to get through that main hall when Vox Nihili can just have access to corridors, high ground, all of these places to collapse upon. You've even got that little underlying tunnel that goes beneath where you can have a little bit of a surprise charge coming around the back with that Lucio speed boost to get a bit of a surprise Reinhardt shatter off. The players that I've seen coming out from just this one spot, this one choke, have been, well, nutty to say the least.
And one thing that we saw last time was Vox Nihili holding early, or not getting held early on this point. They managed to win their first fight, but if Vox Nihili can clear out this first
Looks
fight
like
in
it's
defense,
going to be, once again, Dreadlords trying to make the best of the situation that they've got. Again, Dow gonna be on this Mei, Pingu gonna be onto that mirror. Teams meeting again really close to the payload. Both of these really putting a lot of value into trying to just get that early fight out of the way as quickly as possible. Vox Nihili gonna be trying to just use the payload as some natural cover. The Reinhardt's trying to hammer away at each other. If they can get one of them down, that is gonna be such a huge advantage for that team. Both stuns come through, but no kills off the back of it. Eden is the first one to pick up. Little Flame picks up a second quickly after, and that should be Vox Nihili holding on to this payload, forcing Dreadlords back into the spawn, back into thinking up something a little bit different to try to get through those doors.
and this is kind of the thing that Dreadlords were trying to do last round.
Mayday is approaching that nano. Is going to be looking to land that one onto Teemo, but Nat has it up first, and Mr. Aki Slays is going to be looking. It's going to be a high noon coming out nice and early. Doesn't really find much of anything.
And now they have a pretty significant ultimate advantage, and when you have to start to use ultimates to get out of spawn here, it can be a huge threat. Self-destruct chucked into the back line, doesn't find anybody. Teemo, though, is in trouble now as he gets Maywalled in charge, but the anti-nade manages to save his life. Little Flame takes out Froki, dude, and this could be Dreadlords busting out of their own spawn, but they still have 4 more members to kill here. NKZ still alive on this card. Hazox in the backline, Eden able to be kept alive by his supports. Fantastic support here from the Onins. Now he gets to find his counterpart for that Strawberry, make his way onto the cart. No, nearly taken out is now, but just gets knocked away by the Reinhardt charge. But Pingu going down on cart could spell the end of this hold. Now just staggering their way onto point, trying to get as much time out of this one as they can.
Well, Pingu does have this Blizzard, so even if they manage to just keep that payload stalled just a little bit longer, they should be able to still win out this next team fight. It is very much stoppable, but Dreadlords will be coming in with the wealth of ultimates to their name door. It's going to be painful for Vox Nihili. It's going to be down to Froki and NKZ to try to make sure that the defense matrix saves what the sign barrier doesn't need.
I mean, look at the top of your screen. There are a lot of check marks right now, and there's a lot of things that these teams have to account for. One slip up, and it could be a 6-man self-destruct. It could be a huge shatter, and these teams just need to be completely careful. As Teemo might just get caught out here. The shatter lands onto one. He looks for the charge onto him. The Blizzard will be holding everybody in place. The Reinhardt kept frozen here for Vox Nihili. Gets charged out by Teemo. This should be Aki going down. No, the Nano saves his life. Eden finds Little Flame. This fight's turned right back around for Vox Nihili.
Eden as well has that Deadeye if they need to call in on it, but I don't think they do. Dreadlords are gonna be pushed once again. This payload just not able to move much further. Vox Nihili looking strong on the defense, a lot stronger, I think, on this map than we've seen them.
Yeah, and we kind of saw it on Numbani. Their Reinhardt Diva is more than enough to compete here with Dreadlords, and they're proving it now. Now they're in a pretty nice little ultimate advantage. They have the higher noon now with the May wall, looking to hold on to this point for as long as they can. Don't really find any value with it, but now forcing all of Dreadlords into this cafe, and this is gonna be a tricky push coming out from them.
Well, don't discount the team just yet. Starboy does have that sign bar, and they can pop it to allow Teemo to go so aggressively.
And the self-destruct whiffs yet again. We haven't seen too many big plays, but the team's been very consistent about defending it. And now, having disengaged, Vox Nihili lose Pingu, and that's a huge loss now. As Teemo makes his way on a point, he's stuck with the anti-nade. Aki gets nano, but just held in place by this May. He's unable to do anything. Looking to freeze him up again. Teemo lands a lot of damage onto him. A Little Flame finds Froki as a shield from Aki goes down, and now this could spell the end of the first point here for Vox Nihili.
Yeah, definitely. Even if Vox Nihili manage to get this contest bar going, they are going to be so up against it. They've got a Deadeye to go up against. Well, Dreadlords, they have pretty much everything that they could possibly want. They have this bomb, they have this shadow. We haven't seen the bombs come up huge just yet. But if you put those two in at the same time, it really does force Orion to play extremely carefully with that shield.
Nice defense matrix from Haydox. Will defend from that high noon. Now they have to make their way back in the point, though. NKZ gets the D-Mech. Gets killed now as the cart pushes towards 1.19 meters away now. And Teemo gonna get the final swing in on Aki, and this point should be going over right away. A rough first point here for Dreadlords, but still plenty of time.
And still plenty of ultimates in the pocket to win out this next team fight. They are going to have what Vox Nihili are trying to currently build towards, a Nano and a Blizzard. In fact, you're seeing Dow already surging ahead, trying to find a sneaky spot to put that one in for when Vox Nihili try to come and show their faces. Already Dreadlords taking up that high ground, going to be kicking the defending out of that particular bit of real estate. Going to be looking for that Blizzard any second now.
And Mayday managed to get that nano you spoke of earlier. Managed to get it up, but Teemo just gets frozen. We've seen these Reinhardts really unable to do anything because they just can't close that distance with the Maze. Constantly freezing him. The Shatter lands down on Teemo. He shouldn't be going down here. A nice May wall coming out of Dio will be keeping him alive for the time being. NKZ needs to get healed up, though. Disengaged from Dreadlords is nice. Allows them to all get healed up, but now Aki pushed in with the nano. The Blizzard will be committed here from Pingu, and the push coming in. Eden finds Mayday. Teemo caught in the freeze, gets anti-naded, and the rest of his team just cleaned up around him.
Yeah, that's what happens when you manage to combine ultimates with a Blizzard. You put the nano in, which forces all of Dreadlords to try to back away. They don't want to be dealing with Mr. Aki Slaves when he's bright and shiny. And so it just opens the door for Pingu to lob it in. And poor Dreadlords, they can't do much about anything as they're sent back to spawn. They do, however, still have a Blizzard of their own. We just saw exactly how much of an impact it can have on a fight. And you can guess that they're going to be trying to mirror that success.
Little Flame going down there in the neutral, and now Vox Nihili are looking to capitalize. They're looking to end this map early, searching for more kills. They do manage to find Teemo, and that's pretty big here, as Teemo was 80% to his ultimate. And so now they have to just wait for their main tank to get back, and a pretty significant ultimate advantage right now going over the way of Dreadlords. They have the sound barrier as well. They're coming up on both their Reinhardt and Diva ultimates. Meanwhile, I think the biggest disparage here is going to be Nat's nano boost. We've seen it have a massive effect in just the space that it demands. And this next fight already taking place. Eden getting boosted up for the higher noon, but again, just nothing had here, and a great neutral game by Vox Nihili.
But Vox Nihili, they really are playing this perfectly. This defense, they're going aggressive when they need to, and they're falling back when they know that they just don't have that upper hand.
And they're doing a very effective job of disengaging. Teemo might get caught out here. No, the flashbang unable to finish anything off. Aki Slayer, though, gets stunned in the shatters. Huge landing on a 4 members here of Vox Nihili. And they're going to be rewarded for it. Teemo swings through everybody in his hair, just cutting down the members of Vox Nihili like they're nothing. Left on the cart is Froki, dude. But he's not long for life as overtime ticks down and Dreadlords stay alive just a little bit longer.
And they're gonna stay alive even longer because they managed to win that without needing to put the Blizzard in. Dow is going below, looking for where Vox Nihili is gonna try to drop down to make sure that the Blizzard can come through without the D.Va spotting it out and taking it away with that defense matrix. They don't know!
Oh, but they engage right onto him and he's down! No! Blizzard will be had. Sound barrier goes down, but the final self-destruct gets it in the C9 off the cart to end it all. Vox and Nihili try to claw their way back into the series. It's 1-2.
They check their corners. It's a play that every single May, it feels like at this moment, is trying to go for when you win that team fight out so definitively and you know you've got a little bit of time to wait for the defending team to set up. It's so tempting to hide under and think to yourself that you're going to get such a beautiful, sneaky Blizzard in. But how the tables turn and how the payload doesn't get contested all because of that. They were putting so much of their faith into winning that teamfight in Blizzard that they go just a little bit too far with it. And, well, Vox Nihili, they're going to capitalize on that mistake.
Yeah, oh how the turntables indeed. Pingu goes for the big play, and I've honestly got to hand a lot of props over to Vox and Nihili. That's, even at this level, when there's that much pressure, it's overtime, the clock's ticking down, they're making their way to the end of the point. Checking corners like that is something that a lot of teams forget, and so it doesn't end up coming to bite them in the butt. In fact, it gains them the advantage that they need. A great punish now as we head into Havana. Will be the map swap. What do you see happening here, Moxie?
Okay, so we've had a little bit of, well, teases of some potential compositions that we haven't really got to see.
You just want to see Genji.
I just want to see Genji. I want to see the Nano Blade. It's beautiful. Admit it yourself, Doe. Dow says that he is just a Genji player, and so far I have not seen Genji. I've seen Mei. And yes, Mei can be so potent on Hanamura defense, particularly when you just have that choke and you stand by the door, you play bouncer, you wall them up, your team knocks them down, sends them packing. But it can also be pretty strong on that attack. We're seeing teams sort of learn how to use Mei was almost like that Orisa Holt, where it took a while for people to really get the feel of it and see the pure like breadth and depth of what it can do. But once people started just clicking on to what the possibilities were, they've just run wild with it. You have the wall up to the window so that the team don't have to worry about going through the courtyard. You've had the Symmetra teleporter strats, I'm sure, that have been viral so many times on Reddit, where someone just puts a wall up that the Symmetra sees through the window, manages to teleport the entire team onto the high ground of the point. They all drop down. It's really fun to see, but I admit it, I want to see the Nano Blade. I want some teams to start trying to burn some toast.
And this is going to be the map to do it, though. Hanamura, a lot of room for cheese, a little bit of cheddar, a little bit of Gouda, Symmetra teleporters all over the place, and a lot of ways to break this point open. And it's interesting to see what teams like to go what. We see the dive sometimes, we see the Symmetra sometimes. Sometimes it's just the classic Mei Reinhardt D.Va, which has become a staple of the current meta, and Vox Nihili has proven that they can win maps with it, so they might just choose to stick with it the same way that they did with the dive on Busan. But honestly, I'm expecting at least one of these teams to break out something a little bit funkier.
I mean, but it's probably going to be a temporary funk if it doesn't really work out for them in the first push. Because yes, Symmetra Teleporter does have that chance of locking you down point A immediately, but when a team knows what to expect and they know that it's coming, they just rotate to point. They set up and they set up shop and they don't allow you to walk in. They wall it off. They deal with the turrets as they come out. They even boop you away from the teleporter so you can't go to and fro and get to the safety and sanctuary of your team. It really is something that you can only try to come out with on that blind side. Just try to rush point and see if you can catch a team with their trices down.
Yeah, and one issue that a lot of teams have is when they're trying to defend against the Symmetra teleporter, just getting caught out from running straight through the doors. They see the Symmetra, they immediately back up the point, but by then, you're giving up a whole lot of space just directly in front of you. And so not getting caught off by rotations is going to be a huge thing that these teams are looking to not do. Is we're seeing some interesting comps come out, but standard Reinhardt, D.Va, Mei, and an Ashe locked in by Eden, which is something that we haven't seen in a long time.
So Ashe is crowd control because Dynamite is such an well, there we go, there it goes, goodbye. Ash was crowd control, at least until McCree came and stole the show. They play with it, they dice around with it, but no, they're not gonna be running out with it. And I'm a little bit sad because it's always nice to see a friendly Bob out on point. But McCree, he's just got a lot of value. He really is just the staple at the moment. He's the safe option. And you're running that low risk, low reward, but it still can be reward enough if you put enough resources into it. Like, I've seen McCree's managed to set some amazing Deadeyes up. We're seeing the Mei wall him up, put him on that pedestal. Sometimes I even see the Diva just pocket the McCree, get defense matrix behind him so he can't be slapped, or hit by an icicle in the head as he's trying to pop that trigger.
I think one thing we've seen in this entire series, though, has been fantastic disengage. We haven't really seen any massive self-destructs, any huge high noons. We've seen a couple plays that end up killing one, maybe two people with an ultimate. But all in all, I've got to say the most impressive part of this whole thing has been teams' ability to identify what's going to be coming at them in the next fight and how to avoid it, because they really haven't been giving out much space. We've seen fights where 4, 5, 6 ultimates will come down from both sides and just nobody will go down for the first 20 seconds of the fight. And it's really impressive to see teams peel and disengage so well. We do have a little bit of a pause here, so nice break to talk about this, but I think that's been the biggest thing we've seen these series. And the longer I see it, the more I need to see these teams do more to counter that.
Well, you want to see something to counter it. Hanamura is perfect because this courtyard, well, it is ripe for a couple of corpses to just strain around those steps. Those Lucius are going to be using those speed boosts to the best of their ability. They have to get the team crammed through that choke, either that or bait out the Mei wall before they try to properly get through those doors.
Have a pretty decent opportunity, though. The Brigitte Lucio, the Houston Outlaws special, we'll call it for right now, being run here. The counter wall to disallow the Mei wall from cutting them out, but it does manage to keep the Brigitte away. Teemo rushes in. Dio pressuring this Reinhardt as much as he can. Vox Nihili is going to be their best opportunity. They have the space that they need, but the Reinhardt goes down. Teemo and Hazox now DMX, and this should be a pretty free push here for the blue side.
Yeah, so pros and cons of running 2 off supports. You can go super aggressively. Big con, your team does not stay alive when they get pressured down hard, especially when the other team is running an Ana who is 84% to the first nano. I can see the play that they're going for. Armor reduction has been a huge thing where you can just pop those pikes onto any sort of squishy and they can survive, something that they really perhaps shouldn't. They really do just want to try to get through those doors as fast as they possibly can, allow Teemo to go ham with the hammer, but they do have to really start respecting Nat on that Ana, who not only pumps the anti-nades out, but make sure that Mr. Akislace just has that much more sustainability than his counterpart.
And great Mei walls to disallow them from getting cut off in the choke, but Aki has the nano boost. Kept away, though, by the rocket flail of Mayday, but the high noon from point could be big. Pingu finds Teemo. Aki trades out for Hazox, and just all the kills going the way of Dreadlords right now, unable to do anything with this pressure. Like you mentioned, the second that fight breaks into a more neutral state, they are just caught out in the middle of that courtyard with no heals.
Yeah, and it's not going to look good either for this next push because they're going to be walking into a blizzard. And Froakie as well. Both of these Lucius are going to be coming up to the sign bar. Frokie's already got his online. Starboy might actually force the team to wait around until they've got that one online before they properly try to get that engage if they don't put enough trust into that defense matrix.
And the high noon will be used. Nice wall, keeps half the players out of point. Little Flame goes down, immediately punished for that. The Blizzard does get the value that they're looking for. It might just have to be a disengage here from Vox Nihili. They might just stick with this though. Mayday's stuck on the high ground. He's in an interesting position here away from the rest of his team, and he might just have to hop off the map here, making his way around. I'm honestly confused where he's going.
Well, at the moment, I'm really focusing on this main ground because this is where that fight is going to probably come into fruition. Dow has the Blizzard. Signbar gets popped early, though.
And the Blizzard's in alongside the self-destruct, and this could be enough to just end it on its own. 1 minute 17 left on the clock. Aki not going down anytime soon. Dio finds one on the Froakie dude, but that's the only kill that Vox have been able to find in the past while.
Yeah, so the you do have Teemo coming in with this shatter. It's gonna be going into a Deadeye, but here's the thing, Joe. I've got my fingers crossed. Hazox is gonna be coming up to this bomb. I need to see this duo of ultimates coming out. Otherwise, Mr. Akislayer is just gonna be able to turn and block each of these with ease.
Not to mention, Eden does have the high noon from the high ground, so he's going to have a pretty big advantage here. The Mei walls can't really block nearly as well. NKZ as well is there. two defense matrix any threat that comes his way, and there it is. Pop in a massive anti-nade onto all 6 members. Hazox caught out in a great anti-nade from Mayday. From Nat actually, might just be what wins in the map. Pingu finds one onto Little Flame, but this, with 20 seconds left, Vox get one more push.
And they're going to be coming up against a Blizzard as well. Not closing in on that Nano. This is not something you want to see up against your team when you've got 10 seconds on the clock to touch.
And the Maywall keeps him off of the D.Va. Should be able to touch here. Barely making the way to point. Blizzard, though, used to cut everybody off in this choke. They can't do anybody, but the D.Va doesn't go down on point. Nice freeze, and the flashbang will stop Aki from blocking that shatter. Eden now following it up, though. All the kills still blue in the feed, and we might just see a full hold, Moxie.
We may. It's going to look an awful lot of blue in that kill field. Vox Nihili coming alive to keep Dreadlords out of Hanamura. And I have to commend Nat. That Anna's positioning, she was just having a picnic on that high ground, didn't get disturbed once. Was able to rein in those antis, keep the team alive, even get the sleep onto the counter-charging Reinhardts and make sure that her Rein stays up and alive. Some beautiful peel coming out from Anna's to keep the main tank up.
Yeah, honestly, I've got to say, bigger than any of the ultimates that have come out, I feel have been the anti-nades from the Annas. Nat and Mayday, respectively, have both been incredibly key players to both their teams. Very clutch nanos, keeping their tanks alive, keeping them in the game. And moving on into the second point, it's a tall order to ask for a full hold here. I think Vox Nihili, they beat Dreadlords on map 3, and I think that might have just angered the beast. You know, Dreadlords looking like they're ready to come back with a vengeance right now because they look angry as ever.
Yeah, and are we going to see it? I'm not going to say anything until they have walked out of spawn and towards point A. But what I'm seeing on both of these teams, I've got my fingers crossed. I have got my legs crossed. I have got my toes crossed that this is going to stay on screen, and I think they're doing it, though. I think we're going to see a Torbjorn Ash Bunker versus a Symmetra Maestrat. I'm so happy.
I can't tell if it's a comfort pick or a pick because you have to defend one tick for your open division life right now. Because this is loser's bracket. Whoever loses this game is just done and out of it. These teams are playing for their lives right now, and it's going to be the Torbjorn that they put their faith in. Vox Nihili looking to hold on, but with 4 minutes on the clock and one tick on the point, this is a terrifying prospect.
Well, Starboy is on the Mercy, so they do have a little bit of that saving grace. If one person goes down, they can be rezzed back up. But there goes the Symmetra teleporter, and there goes Vox Nihili onto the point.
And Teemo's in a bad position here, forced to use that Fortify, taking a lot of damage right now. But the Torbjorn turret is in a pretty good position to hold here. Teemo, though, goes down main tank, down Little Flame, trying to do damage. But Eden takes out Dio. Starboy, 3 members left. Make it 2 as the D.Va gets demeched, and that is going to be all she wrote. All is done but the fat lady singing right now, and that's going to be it. Vox Nihili taken down, and Dreadlords move on.
That is why you see the Symmetra teleporter strat coming into fruition, finding so much impact, and we're going to see Pingu actually picking up play of the game. It's got to be one of those, but it's not a Blizzard. It's just going to be picking the skulls with the ice pick.
And you know what? It's enough to win with the point. A valiant attempt at the Torbjorn from Vox Nihili. Unfortunately, not able to pull it off at the end of the day. However, a great attempt. The Havana push and hold were both stellar coming out of Vox Nihili, so I think they're a team to keep as well. Great stuff coming out of Dreadlords, but we do have another match coming up today. What is that for us, Moxie?
I think we're still actually going with this. The teams swapped sides. It was Vox Nihili who took Hanamura, and so they will be taking us up to 2 versus 2.
Did the color swap?
They did indeed. They didn't rename themselves. That is why we're having a little bit of confusion, because players love to do this. They love to sow the seeds of chaos into casters and viewers' minds. Colors changed. The team swapped sides, but the names did not get amended. So that was Vox Nihili who actually take it up to 2 versus Dreadlords who sit on a 2. And so I thought it was going to happen. I told you it was going to happen earlier today, Dot. We're going to map 5.
Moxie, I'm defeated. I can't do anything. Their brains are too large. They've outplayed the casters as well as their opponents. Vox Nihili still in the series, making it 2-2. So going to a map 5 will be exciting, and it's going to be Ilios. So a lot of weird stuff to be run on Ilios, very differing maps. A lot of dive can be played here, not to mention the Wrecking Ball being a fairly strong pick on a lot of these maps. But what do you see going down here?
I mean, if you're Vox Nihili, you're squirming in your seat just a little bit because you're remembering Busan. And you are remembering very specifically downtown. So you are gonna, if I'm predicting anything, if it's going to be Lighthouse, you're gonna come out with meta, you're gonna come out with the Reinhardt and the Diva. You're not gonna try to go for that dive in case you come out with dive, you find yourself being sent back to spawn, and you have to shoot yourself in the foot once again, swapping up your entire composition. If it's Ruins and well, it's all up in the air because while you can find value with Pharmacy, you can find value with that Arista and the Roadhog, but I don't need to talk about well for all of 20 seconds because it's gonna be a Lighthouse, and so I'm sure if you're Vox Nihili, it's just gonna be that meta composition, and if you're Dreadlords, you might actually want to start swapping things up just a little bit because it seems like Vox Nihili has cracked your composition.
Yeah, it seems like in the meta composition, Vox and Nihili are in the driver's seat. Your premonition coming true, it will be Lighthouse, and I think that definitely plays into the hand of Vox and Nihili, where that Reinhardt Diva composition can be powerful enough to just take the map on its own. It's going to be interesting to see what Dreadlords try to come out on, but they do just lock in the Ryan Diva again.
Yeah, Dreadlord swapping over once again onto the sides of the blue. Vox Nihili going to be on the sides of the red. Even going with the Widowmaker could be just for that early grapple up. Try to spot out either what your enemy is running or even get an early pick off onto one of the supports to open things up for your fight immediately. Gonna be probably swapping off to the McCree to mirror Little Flame. There it is. Not even gonna try to go for that early grapple. Straight onto the McCree. Both of these teams gonna be heading straight into this first fight. Speed boost at the ready.
Yeah, and keep an eye on the Mei walls here. Whoever gets the first little bit of positioning advantage is going to be huge moving in onto this point. Gaining the point control can be a massive advantage in this fight. Those 3 little walls can keep your team alive so effectively without having to use resources. First team to drop will be Dreadlords, though, and they could use this to their advantage, but still stuck in an awkward position as a Little Flame on the high ground, just trying to poke as best you can. But as the point ticks down, somebody's going to have to make a move. It looks like it's Vox Nihili taking it up. Nice Maywall cuts Teemo off. The rest of your team, though, flies over to defend him. Good push, and now it's Aki getting Maywalled off, and he's in all sorts of trouble. Gets countercharged and will be going down. Little Flame, though, trades it out. Dio goes down in return. Mei now gone. Vox Nihili still in the driver's seat of the point, but NKZ loses the Diva mech, and that's going to be it. With both the tanks down, it's going to be a pretty free push here for the Dreadlords as they just look to slice and dice their way through.
Yeah, but that tick is still ticking up for Vox Nihili currently. They were the ones who touched point first, and so a long fight means they just get all of this percentage.
And the fight's still going on, like you mentioned. That little bit of percentage matters, and Eden is just going off this fight, finding 3 or 4 kills here in the past 20-30 seconds. Pingu finds 1 more for his troubles, and turning it right back around is going to be Vox Nihili. They do have to take that point over, though, at some point.
Yeah, Flip doesn't come through, and so Vox Nihili is able to eke out 41% on the board of that one fight alone. Dreadlords will be coming into this with some power behind their name this time, though. Ultimates have been built up. Mayday and Nat, both these Annas, both have those nanos, and both of those Reinhardts getting so close to that shadow. We can finally get to see a little bit of those Reinman games coming into play.
Pretty much dead even right now as High Noon's used from both ends, trying to catch out. This McCree will be Hazox, maybe getting a little bit too big for his bridges, gets caught out, forced to use the self-destruct to remake here. Aki trying to get charged through. In fact, Teemo will find it, ending off that kill. Gains them a main tank advantage for their troubles. Pingu, though, finds his counterpart in Dio, and that's the Mei down. A lot of the sustain gone. This could be big. Little Flame finds Pingu, though, and it's both Meis down, so this point is just a free roam right now for the Reinhardt of Teemo, and he's going to take full advantage of it.
Yeah, but you can see Vox Nihili were just trying to keep themselves going onto that point. NKZ puts in the Diva Bomb just to get the team up to 83%, so near that final fight territory. The main tank and McCree are off a little bit in enemy territory, but they do have the Deadeye. They're going to put it in, and that's going to allow them to get that foot into that point.
Oh, but Eden gets slept out of the Deadeye. The Shadow comes out from the backside. Teemo finding 1 onto 2 more members here of Vox Nihili. 2 members down for each side. It's 4 versus 4 on the point. Trying to boot people off the edge is Hazox, but unable to do so. Now, Aki needs to make his way onto the point. Finds the fire strike on his Teemo, and that's huge as Pingu going down next. But the kill still just blew enough in the kill feed. A close fight, but it goes the way of Dreadlords.
The next one, if you look at ultimates as well, should be going in Dreadlord's favor. They've got the Blizzard. They're going to have the Sound Barrier online. Those are two ultimates, an aggressive ultimate and a defensive ultimate. You have the best of both worlds. If you're Vox Nihili, you are towards that last fight territory, though. You can just group up small little eco pushes to build up ultimates in your bank and then come in with all 6 of those circles colored in. If you're Dreadlords, you have to start putting in a couple of things that you might perhaps want to be keeping for that contest.
Yeah, and playing the ultimate economy for them is going to be huge. They need to get this one in pretty much one take right now as they look to do it. But the Blizzard gets eaten by NKZ, and that's huge moving forward. That was a big piece of their ultimate advantage. That's the offense that you were talking about. Now it's time for the defensive. Starboy does have the Sound Barrier to try and save the rest of his team. Does decide to use it. Little Flame takes out Eden for it, and now the Blizzard dropped onto the point. This could be the take that Vox Nihili were looking for. 83% on the timer. The Reinhardt just stuck in the corner. Teemo unable to do anything. Has to hold his shield up against the sound barrier, against the self-destruct, and now destroying everybody here from the Dreadlords is going to be Vox Nihili, but they take the point back into their favor.
And they can keep the point in their favor. Mr. Accusays has the Shatter. Froakie has the Sound Barrier. They are the only ones in possession of an ultimate at this moment. Little Flame is going to be coming up to that Deadeye, but it can be just knocked away by NKZ with that defense matrix.
And it might be a little bit too early to say here, but reverse sweep from Vox Nihili would be absolutely incredible. Eden finds one on a Little Flame. That's the advantage they need. NKZ another on the Dio, and this could be it. This could be Lighthouse, the first map of Helios, going the way of Vox Nihili.
Well, they're going to be trying to finish this one up. Eden has the Deadeye, but they don't even need to put it in. It's going to be a little bit of a celebration. Vox Nihili picking up Lighthouse 100% to 97% on the board.
And we're at match point here. Vox Nihili, you've got to feel, are just in the head of Dreadlords. It's very difficult to keep your mental game so strong against the face of a very, very scary reverse sweep coming out from the red side here. And I mean, you're one map away from losing it. Dreadlords need to get it together, need to just, I think, focus on their mental game, because the longer this goes, the more you just get jumbled up, the comms get worse and worse, your coordination starts to fall off. And I think when we get into these mid fights where there's no ultimates being used and it's just players peeling and getting damage for one another, that's when that communication structure really starts to matter, and you need it going into this last map.
Well, communication in those normal team fights, yes, but also you need to have that mentality staying strong when it comes to ultimates, because that Mei versus D.Va matchup, you need to be so strong in your psyche. You need to put in Blizzard when you know Defense Matrix isn't going to be there to gobble it away.
Yeah, and now an aggressive fight. Both Maywalls countering the Reinhardt, but NKZ finally gets the better of Little Flame. They have the high ground, but 2 kills going down the way of Dreadlords. The Mei might be going down next. Yes, Pingu gets pinged down, and NKZ just runs away.
Well, if you're Vox Nihili, though, you are quite happy with that push if you're Eden. 80% to Deadeye. That McCree absolutely on fire when it comes to hitting those bodies and skulls. But Teemo has been quietly building up an ultimate of his own, 78% to the Shatter. And I don't know if Vox Nihili are going to be expecting this one. Their own Reinhardt is only 21% to an ultimate. So if you're Dreadlords, you can try and catch this team unawares.
Yeah, they know how much he's been swinging, but will Teemo be able to catch him out? Both Maywalls used only the Reinhardt barrier to keep him alive, but a nice anti-nade puts Aki in a very rough spot. NKZ takes out Dio, and Aki in a very rough position now. Lots of damage coming down onto him, but the high noon from Eden is what we were talking about earlier. Finds them one kill they need, and Vox Nihili take the point back over in their direction.
Lovely target focus from Vox Nihili as well. They do not allow Teemo the time of day. That Reinhardt gets frozen and immediately taken out alongside the rest of his team, so he wasn't able to use the Shatter. Vox Nihili have built up one of their own. We're going to be seeing 2 nanoed Rhines coming out extremely shortly after each other.
There's the Shatter, blocked though by Teemo. No mind games to be played right now. As Little Flame and Dio just go down to the backline though. The Lucio actually diving into the backline alongside the D.Va, able to find those kills, and Aki just going to clean up with ease with that nano, and they still have plenty of ultimates to try and seal this one out.
But Dreadlords have plenty of ultimates of their own. Dowers coming up to that Blizzard. Starboy is getting really close to that Sound Barrier, 9% away. We'll have it for when this next fight comes through, and that is going to be absolutely key, because both of these Meis going to be getting close to this Blizzard. Pingu already has his up. Going to be looking to lob that one in. You can see him on the side waiting for Dreadlords to move past that choke.
And there it is, the Blizzard's used and caught out. Is Teemo will get frozen here. Deadeye to try and stop him from going down, but 2 of his teammates already lost to the Blizzard. It's not going to be enough. A nice attempt from Little Flame to peel, but not gonna be able to do it.
Okay, silver linings for Dreadlords. You just lost your team to a blizzard, so you know that you don't have to save Sign Barrier for it. So you can go super aggressively with all of the ultimates you have to your name. You can put a Sign Barrier in, you can nano the Reinhardt, and you can just swing away to your heart's content because you aren't going down anytime soon.
Yeah, but do you want to commit that many ultimates when they're at such high percentage? Vox and Nihili are getting into that one fight territory where if they just take the point back, it could be a huge threat here. Only at 36% right now are the Dreadlords, and they make their way onto the point. Nano goes down onto Little Flame this time, trying to break through that shield of Aki. Now Sound Barrier used from both sides, but the advantage goes to the Dreadlords who used it second. Nice wall, almost catches Aki out of place. Self-destruct though comes down from over top, finds Teemo. Maintain down both of them though. Aki traded in return. HMonkey and NKZ dueling here on the Divas, but it's a Little Flame from the high ground who has so much precedence over this entire point, and it looks like it'll be enough for Dreadlords to just hold on, but still, 3 members alive from Vox Nihili on the point. NKZ though going down spells the end of that hold, but it's not for nothing. 99% is an impressive take.
Yeah, and you can, again, just build up ultimates, come in. You know that you've got so many fights left before that clock. That timer hits 99% for the other team. So if you're Dreadlords, you are really on the edge of your seat right now. You have to start winning fights, and you have to start absolutely landsliding fights. You cannot allow Vox Nihili the chance to get kills or damage going their way.
Yeah, now cut off from 2 other players. Pingu gets caught up from the high noon. I don't think he knew what angle it was coming from. Just gets peeked out by it. HMonkey now looking for the engagement, and this is what you're talking about. Clean fight wins are what the Dreadlords want.
Yeah, they can't allow Vox Nihili to start getting those ultimates built up because they just do not have time for it. They are hitting that 74%, so towards that final fight territory, but it's not just that. It still can have touches from the Lucio, even at that 82-93%. Teemo has got the Shatter, currently the only ultimate up for the side of Dreadlords, so gonna have to be very careful about how he plays this one in. Mr. Akislays is gonna be looking to block that one out and then get that nano onto him to just move into Dreadlords, who will be so vulnerable when that blind Shatter fails.
And keep an eye on both of these Maze ultimate charges. Aki, go! He gets flashed and shattered. Little Flame finds one on the Pingu, and that's that Blizzard out of the equation. Aki finds Teemo though. Main tank's down. HMonkey and NKZ dueling, but NKZ is going to get the better of him. Is now just trying to touch this point. It's Vox Nihili holding on. We might be going to a map 3 here. High noon from the high ground. Not able to do much there. Froki trades one onto the opposing support, and it's just staggers coming out from both sides here. Who can clean up the fight? Pingu comes in on the Doofus, looking to clean up. Little Flame goes down. This could be the point taking over. In fact, it will be. Teemo has to get the touch in. No, the boosters are enough, and that's it. Vox Nihili take the map in the series in a reverse sweep.
The contest picks, when you come in with a Doomfist, you have to be prepared for being fought in by a Doomfist because they drop in. And if you're not expecting a Doomfist, your body is going slamming into not just the next wall, but the wall after that. You feel the impact, and you also feel Starboy picking up that play of the game. Bye-bye, Anna. Sorry, you can't swim, can't fly, can't live any longer.
And sending her right into the water will have been enough. Vox Nihili, a great match to start off for the day, and I'll take a reverse sweep. How about you, Moxie?
I love to see them. I absolutely adore to see them, and I adore to see 5 map casts because it means I get to spend so much time getting to see Overwatch and getting to hang out with the wonderful play-by-players.
Yeah, and with that match over, we will be pretty soon heading over to our next matchup. You want to tell us what that one is?
Well, it looks as if we're going to get to see Sheer Cold in action versus NIC, and I cast Sheer Cold yesterday. They have long been one of the favorites to win Open Division as a whole, so what can I say? It's gonna be one heck of a game.
Yeah, Sheer Cold looked like a massive threat rolling through that winner's bracket yesterday. We got to see a lot of them, and we'll get to see more because I think they're really one of the most exciting teams to watch here. But until then, I believe that's all we have for you guys. So, yeah, we'll catch you then.